Oh man. Yeah. Thank you all so much for having me. This is a very sentimental story to me, so forgive me if I cry. But I can be an emotional guy at times, so you just want to lead with that. Um, I guess I'm going to start with I've been going to Delfest for probably over 15 years, and whenever I started going, it was just for the party. It was only because I had siblings who went and they said this is a great time, and it was only I guess 2012, 2013 whenever I actually made my debut onto the scene, and shortly after that I started volunteering to get my free ticket in there. I don't know if you guys remember Pie for the People, but the pizza joint that was in there for a long time, I was back there slinging pies. And eventually I became a full-time employee of that place because I did it for so many years consecutively. Made a lot of good friends, and then eventually it was me and only my friends in there working, running the whole booth. So yeah, that was my introduction to the whole thing, was just to go in there and have fun. And my playlist at the time, if I could describe it, it was like Bass Nectar and Pretty Lights, and I was a young kid, so I had a lot of different interests as far as music went, and really didn't play the guitar, didn't do anything musically. It was I was raw, and so over all those years, you start to just, from the pizza tent, even though we had our own music in there, you'd hear some of these bands on the Potomac stage, and they would make you want to go over and just tap your foot a little bit, and the years would go by, and I would start reserving times, like telling my boss there, like, you got to let me go see Green Sky. You got to let me go see Yonder Mountain. You got to, and like, I'll come back. I promise I'll come back. But, and then, eventually it became like today, I'd say 90% of my playlist is bluegrass music. I'm a diehard, and it just grew on me organically. It's, I guess I need to reverse time, go back to, let me just show you. Let me just show you. This is my granddad's guitar. It is a 1967 Guild F47. He willed it to me. He passed away when I was about 15. So before I ever went to Delfest, he gave me this guitar, and this was before I ever played. And I guess he just kind of knew that this was supposed to be a thing for me. And so I set it away in a closet for a long time because I was afraid of it. And then eventually, when I wanted to play guitar, instead of picking this up, I went to the guitar store and bought my own Martin because I didn't want to be afraid of it when I'm playing this thing. And so while I was in college, I would play every night after I put my kids to bed. And in order to distract myself from doing calculus or physics or anything like that, it was so hard to just study all the time. So to break the monotony, I'd pick up my Martin guitar and play it. And after a few years of being in college, doing this just to get by, my girlfriend was like, "Dude, you got to do something with this music thing," because she's listening to me from the other room, and I'm in there just jamming, having a good time. And so I went and eventually signed up for the academy. My family paid for me as a surprise. So when they put me into the academy, I was exuberant, but I was also really, really nervous. Didn't know if I was going to fit in. Immediately when I got there, everybody, they accepted me. They wanted me to step up to the front and sing. That's probably my strong suit, but they also wanted to see this guitar. They're like, "Dude, what is that?" And they're telling me how special it is, and that this was actually Guild's attempt at competing with the Martin D28, which is the flagship of bluegrass guitars. And they made it in short supply, so you don't really see a whole lot of these. I ended up going and playing in front of Dell at the very end of all of this, and then Dell came up after my performance, and we talked about this guitar for a little bit. I told him how big of a fan my pap was. We found a few albums that belonged to him, and So, you know, I mean, it was just evidence that, like, my pap really did listen to Del McCurry. And when he gave me this guitar, he probably didn't know that it would go that far. But then, you know, I couldn't help myself. I was like, I got to get a Sharpie. Yeah, so this was where Del signed it. And I just felt like the exclamation point on him willing this guitar to me. Like, I completely made it worthwhile. That his investment, you know, choosing me was like the best decision that he could have made. And, you know, on top of that, my 6-year-old son, Samuel, he was there to witness it too. Samuel and I listen to bluegrass music together all the time. He probably knows more songs than I do now, and like constantly wants me to put songs on his playlist. But, you know, I like grabbed a hold of him and was like, see that guy with the white hair over there in the corner? He's standing, it's like, you know, all aboard, everybody's got a gig. He's like, what? Yeah, it was, you know, such a cool moment. And he ran over and shook Del's hand. And, yeah, no, that I cried probably 10 times during the Academy last year. And if you saw it, you know, they were all happy tears. It wasn't me, you know, having a meltdown or anything. These were some of the best moments that I've ever had, musically. And, you know, that it all started with me going to a party and what I thought was just going to be a good time, you know, for us, you know, kids to go and drink and have fun together. But I found out through, you know, going to many different festivals and then going to Delfest that it's a family there. When you walk through those gates, you find a lot of people who want to make a community, and they want to invite you over and let you enjoy their food and make you a margarita, or, you know, just talk to you about what's going on in your life and which bluegrass bands you like. And yeah, so like I always was afraid that somewhere there's like a dividing line like beyond the food vendors, where I was like, oh, maybe that's VIP. You know, like I didn't know like what was back there. There's a lot of RVs and everything going on over there, and I would always tend to camp down in the woods by the baseball fields, which was a great time. You know, I did have a great time, but once I did the Academy thing and I camped on the far other side, you realize like those are where all the musicians were hanging out at, and that's where I belonged the whole time. And all those people have a way of just every single night jumping into a jam circle together, and anybody's welcome to jump in with that, and that's where the magic happens. Yeah, any questions? I mean, anything that you guys piqued your interest, feel free to stop me. You know, I'm just rambling right now, but I'd like to definitely give a shout. Like, just let me digress for a moment. That pizza joint that I worked at for about 10 years, you know, they stopped coming, and my friends that all worked in that place as grunt workers have started their own company that's coming back this year. Yeah, so shout out. They're going to be called Poppin' Off Pies. Chris McCartney is the owner of that. He does a fantastic job. I'm sorry, Chris, I can't work this year. Yeah, but yeah, I'm definitely going to go back over there and, you know, try to get one of those slices. It was really neat over the years working in that place, and like we got to serve Del. We got to serve the whole family. They would order like 10 pizzas all at once, and we'd all go as like a group over to like hand them their pizzas, and you know, it was a great time. But I was ready to graduate from it and become like a true listener of the music. Probably my favorite performance, I'd say, of all time. There's so many good ones, but we loved Armchair Boogie last year, which is a little bit of a different spin, but man, they were great. I can't wait. I hope they come back. Yonder Mountain, the one late night year in particular, it was absolutely amazing. You know, Green Sky always brings it great, and Sierra Farrell last year, getting cut off by that storm. You know, like that was something that like it kind of broke my heart. But I immediately went home after that and was like, I'm gonna learn like 3 or 4 of her songs just so I can get like the itch out. You know, but,
can you play any of them on your Dead Granddad's?
Yeah, yeah. You want to hear one?
Sure.
Okay. Forgive me, Granddad, I haven't changed these strings in a while. Let me get that out too. Let's try it one more time. I hope I'm in your dreams the way that you are in all of mine. We got a love so fine, I wish that I could make you mine. Won't you sit down, you know I love you, honey, and you look so tired. I know it's hard how we're thrown into this life, that one day we must die. But that old river will flow on, even after we're all long gone. That river will flow on. Take me with you now before I'm one. I walk into the room and there you sit, you're so alone and quiet. I can't help it but stare, how I love you, it just ain't fair. Ooh. But that old river will flow on, even after we're all long gone. That river will flow on. Take me with you now before I'm one. Thank you all. Yeah, that was one of them. And yeah, now I can't, like, her coming back this year was like, I feel like you have to. You have to at that, you know, I mean, she was right in the middle of Jeremiah, which is one of my son and daughter's favorite songs by her. It was just cut off by that crazy thunderstorm. We all had to get in the car and go home. Yeah, but yeah, it was such a cool day. I'm gonna go to Delfest for the rest of my life. I mean, you know, as long as they have this thing here, I'm so grateful that it just so happened to have landed in my hometown, where, you know, like, people are traveling. I've met people from Wyoming that came, you know, they come year after year after year. I've met people from all over the world that you just bump into, and they're like, you know, we can't wait to travel all the way back to Cumberland, Maryland. And meanwhile, like, I'm basically within walking distance of this place. And yeah, it was willed this great bluegrass guitar that it needs to go to a luthier. I don't know if you guys could hear it or not. It's a little dead, but it's got its own unique sound. But just the happenstance of all of this, you know, me not knowing that I would love bluegrass music so much organically, and have found my way through all these different genres where I really gave them all their fair shake. I really did. and then I'm, sitting by the river every weekend listening to, Earl Scruggs and Dell, and I'm a huge Tony Rice fan. And, everybody loves Billy Strings from my generation, but it's I think it is a little bit of a generational thing. Yeah, I mean, but yeah, like what a coincidence. What a beautiful coincidence that this all became reality for me. And to watch my kids take on this same thing, and not to say that I don't want to jinx it, knock on wood, but I want to will this to them one day, yeah, if it survives for that long. And yeah, that's my plan. Delfest, I love you.
So you're a bluegrass singer?
Yeah, so I sing and perform solo, and because of the sound of my voice, I get pushed into a country, setting a lot more often. I can hit high notes, but I sound like Chris Stapleton, or like a Tyler Childers, or name another artist that sounds kind of like that. And so covering those songs for me is just the place where I get the most attention. And now I like playing those songs. They're really fun. But then I'm super jealous of all my buddies. I see them covering, a Tony Rice lick, or.
Don't you play in a bluegrass band as well?
Yeah. So All Grassed Up is the name of them. They're a wonderful group of musicians that are, far better than me. And I try to step in and sing a few songs with them every once in a while. But keeping up with guys that have been in a band for 50 years is. It's a high test. It's really hard to keep up.
And they're out of Berkeley Springs?
Out of Berkeley Springs, they're wonderful. You guys, check them out. They sometimes are a 5-piece band, sometimes they're like a 4-piece, or even a 3 sometimes. But anytime that they're going to be local, I do try to step in and just link up with those guys, and if nothing else, just to learn. As they're very very advanced players all the way around. But yeah, I'm still on my journey, and I've done the academy one time now. I'm hoping for a scholarship this year, and to go for my second time and try to grab onto more of that knowledge. I would say at least 2 or 3 times for somebody that's like me is the minimum that you need to actually pick up all the information that's dropped at the academy. You can only write down so many notes. And every year you go back, it's going to be a different teacher. You'll still have the McCurrys there. I loved learning from Heaven. I loved Cody Kilby. He was like speaking in tongues almost. It was like so advanced that I was having a hard, I was like, what are you talking about? The whole time. But Heaven, being a younger guy, was understanding that I wasn't understanding. And we connected more on a beginner's level, and he got me picking up stuff like what I just played for you guys pretty quickly. And I think just 1 or 2 more trips for me, I could maybe keep up with those guys and All Grassed Up, and take on my own bluegrass band one day whenever they're ready to hang it up, because that's where my heart's at.
What would you say last year was your biggest takeaway from the academy? Like the biggest thing you learned?
Music theory, I would say. What I mean, like scales a little bit, understanding that the chords change whenever you put a capo on, and you have to know not just the shapes of chords, but how the sounds change as you go up the neck. It's a lot. It's not something I could explain in one sitting, but if you sit and mess with that for long enough, then eventually you memorize how chord shapes will change the sounds as you go up the neck for every single capo spot. And so I had no idea that all this stuff even existed. I was playing solely from memory, and just I would memorize an entire song, all the lyrics, everything, and then try to shove it all in. But those guys, the way that they can sound so incredible is that they understand these music theory things that are once you get it, it's applicable all the way up and down the neck, and now it's just up to you to fiddle around. And you see these guys improvising, and it's like, how do they do that? And to the layman person, it looks like magic. And to them, it's like this is their, carpentry or whatever else that, that when you have a craft, that's just what they do. But yeah, no, I can't wait. Can't wait. I hope, if not this year, I'll try again next year and start saving up for it, because it was, I love Delfest. I do. I love Delfest. But if I had to choose, I would pick the Academy every year. It was, yeah, you kind of like, it was about 150 people, I think, last year, between the guests and everybody that was actually in the Academy. And then once like the normal attendees of Delfest arrived, you still have a connection with all these people that you were in the Academy with. And it's like, and I just wanted to keep hanging out with those people that were genuinely interested in playing and understood some of this stuff. And we would keep talking about these ideas that we were learning about playing up the neck in the Academy. You know, we were watching Cody Kilby go on stage and actually use that stuff. And I mean, it's like, wow, I never looked at it that way before. It was always just kind of like, it seemed like magic. Yeah. But, yeah.
Anybody have questions?
Yeah. Please open up for questions.
How old were you when you started playing the guitar, and how did you learn?
So I was 14 years old, and my friend, who's like, whatever he does is my friend Daniel. Whatever he does, he goes all the way in. And so like he had bought an acoustic guitar and a Les Paul, and he's like, you know, he was asking for this stuff for his birthday and for Christmas or whatever. And so he had a collection of instruments over there, and I would go over and we'd strum around, and he would be able to teach me one or two things, and repetition would at least get me to the point where I could, like, we would play comfortably numb. I would just sit there and strum through, and then he would like get on his Les Paul and do the solos and stuff. And that was fun for a while. But really where it took off for me was in college. Like I was saying that, you know, like when you have something really, really important to do, and then you just find a reason to clean your house. Yeah, you procrastinate and you have like all this. And like for me, the important thing that I really didn't want to do was study for these tests in college or the quiz that I had the next day. And I would make every excuse to just, you know, right beside me was this guitar. And that was the easier thing. The cleaning my house was playing the guitar. And so I would give myself the time to learn one song all the way through on YouTube. You know, use YouTube, because that was the gateway, I think, for me. Like it was like when things started to really make sense, it was just, you know, finding the songs that I really loved, go on YouTube, look up the tutorial, and push that into your brain no matter what it takes. And then, you know, you do that 10, 15 songs and you start to recognize some patterns. And then your fingers get beat up a little bit, and, you know, then it doesn't hurt so bad. And, you know, eventually you got yourself a tiny set list there that you can go in front of people in a campfire and say, you know, check this out. Like, you know, you got one or two things at least that might impress some people. But yeah, after a few years of doing the college thing, that was when my girlfriend was like, you gotta do something with this. Like, it can't just be us like in the house listening to this. Like, other people deserve to hear it too.
Start making some money from it.
Yeah, and exactly. And it turned into that too. But I was really super skeptical of myself. Like, I did not think that I sounded good at all. Like, it was just something I did for fun. And when my dad got married, he's like, could you just play one song? Just one song at my wedding. And I told him yes, and was freaking out about it for, you know, weeks leading up to it. Like, oh my God, I cannot believe that I just agreed to this. And I did it, and it was good enough. Because when I went and sat down in my chair for the rest of the wedding ceremonies and everything, I was next to the guy that runs the Bacon Festival, and a couple other festivals here in town, and he kind of nudged me and was like, hey man, you got 45 minutes? And like, yeah, it's like, and so I lied, and sorry, Jeff. And I told him, yeah, I do. And yeah, but then the clock was on. I was like, now I really had to go back home and sweat it out and force that 45 minutes, you know, to make it work. And, you know, you get through one of those shows and it's like, okay, I got 45 minutes now. Now can we do another 45 minutes of a totally different set list? And now I'm playing 3 and 4 hour long shows. And yeah, no, it just,
Bathroom sessions, that's kind of, I got to know you through your bathroom sessions.
yeah, the bathroom sessions, everybody sounds better in the shower. Yeah, that was the idea behind it, we're all rock stars there. And so, I was like, let's see if that holds water, and go hang out. Then my son started joining me in the bathroom, because he's like, Dad, are you a YouTuber? Yeah. I was like, you could be a YouTuber too if you just come in here with me and do 1 or 2 songs. And it seems like he's really got the itch now just from like being around it. We got to get him an instrument that fits him. But yeah.
Which song did you sing at the wedding?
Joy of My Life by Chris Stapleton. Yeah, and yeah, it was my dad's wedding.
I've heard from several of the women who were there that you were wonderful.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
I personally wasn't there, but my aunt.
The word got out. Yeah, thank you. And
They're making us watch the video.
Yeah, when you played here the last time, when she
that's
came
right.
and my aunt, they're friends, and they were telling me.
you tell them I said thank you very much, because I was a nervous wreck. And from that day on, then I've only learned more, especially about like containing your voice and making sure that it lasts, from week to week. One time and one time only, I lost my voice from straining too hard. I played in a bar, local place around here, for a 2-hour show with no audio equipment, and I was trying to elevate my voice above the crowd for that whole 2 hours, and then by the end of it, like, I'm going, I can't, and it was gone for a full 6 weeks, which was awful. Yeah, it was absolutely horrid. So like now I have this whole regimen of I do saltwater rinses. The whole time that I'm playing on stage, I have cough drops in. I'm not sick. Anybody, I'm not sick up there, but I constantly have a lozenge in my mouth. After the show, I do another saltwater rinse, and then hot tea is the way to go. I would love if anybody out there would reach out and give me their tips on how they preserve their voice, because it's like,
Do you ever talk to Megan Jean again?
yeah.
She might have some good tips,
Oh, yeah.
because she's always working on preserving her. I'm not musically inclined, so.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I'm sure I use a lot of unofficial terms too.
Her breath,
Yeah.
like, getting her,
Registered,
yeah, that stuff, so she would probably be a really good one to talk to.
Yeah.
About that.
I'll keep that in mind. Megan G, you better reach out.
She'll be here May 14th.
She will?
Yappy Hour.
Yeah. I'm trying to muscle my way on stage for Delfest one time. see if I can get somebody to allow me. But yeah, I've absolutely loved this musical journey. Did not ever think that I would, make it this far, and now it's just like everything's a bonus. And Delfest was definitely the catalyst that I needed to, find the music that I was truly passionate about, and find the right group of people that would push me, and say, like, once I got into a group of people like the Academy, and they were telling me that things were going well, it's like, okay, this is
I don't suck.
I don't suck. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this isn't as bad as I thought it was, and I should have a little bit more confidence. So if nothing else, to tell people, believe in yourself. And there's plenty of us out there that sound like you stepped on a tabby cat, but they still have the confidence to go up on stage, and like it's nothing to be ashamed of. You put your whole heart and soul into something, and people genuinely will want to hear it.
You go to the Academy this year, what's your one goal, like, for this year's Delfest?
To learn some more improvisational skills. I want to be able to noodle, and also not just sound like a typewriter. Like kind of like da 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 da, like the way that you hear modern bluegrass players add inflection and add some like voicings into their guitar, where it's not just one note after another in perfect rhythm, but they are bending and sliding, and they know exactly where they are inside of each key. And so that's my next goal, that I would like to be able to just step right into a group of people we were playing a song I've never heard before, and I've watched people do this at the Academy and just went, wow. Like, you know, we just played a song that's not even traditionally bluegrass, and they stepped right into it, and were like, they made up a solo on the spot. And yeah, to me, that's like mind-blowing. Still, that's the magic to me. Yeah,
Did your grandfather have a favorite song that you play on this guitar?
no, him. So I said he played like when we were at the river. We had a camp a lot. He would always play the really old country stations. Like, you know, it would be. Yeah, in Romney, where like the only radio station that came through was this. So I'm not even 100% sure that was actually what he liked to play.
Park was the
Yeah,
DJ or whatever it's called.
yeah, and that was literally the only thing that we had access to. There was nothing else. So like, I mean, I saw him. You know, he would hum around on a couple of these songs, but he played guitar, but he wasn't like, you know, the kind of guy like that would sit down and be like, okay, everybody listen to these songs that I like to play. Sometimes he would pick it up and strum it around, but so, it was the way he acquired this guitar too was kind of neat. His cousin, Sir Ronnie Durbin was his name. He served 2 tours in Vietnam and came home after the first one and used his money to buy this guitar. And then he went back out and the ship that he was on was shot by an RPG, and everybody on board died. Yeah, so the guitar was still sitting in that garage at his mom's house, and they fell on hard times and decided to pawn the guitar. And when the pawn ticket, actually it was here on Baltimore Street, the pawn ticket was on its last day, and my pap found out. And he went up and bought it and made sure that it was not just going to go into anybody's hands. And then, you know, held on to it for 3 or 4 decades. And then finally, you know what I mean, I was the next one to get it placed in my hands. I'm like, this is so special. You know, I mean, it was so close to going in a different direction, and, you know, found its way in the right hands. I'd like to think so. But, yep, I'm mighty proud of it. It was, yeah, getting Del to sign it was like, this doesn't feel real.
Is there a favorite song you like to play on it?
Did I like to play on it? I love, you know, and the McCurrys do Lonesome Henry and Mean. You're a McCurrys fan? I got snubbed last year, so they do karaoke with the band, and you know everybody is like in a big rush to sign up on this list because they've already all thought about like the song. I'm sure like I am right now. Like if they put that list in front of me, I'd try to race everybody to the front and do Lonesome Henry and Mean, which was an old Waylon Jennings tune. And that was one that my pap, I knew he liked it. I'm not going to say it was his favorite, but yeah, and I hate that Jason Carter left the band. I hate, but that was a song that Jason sang, and I feel like my voice kind of lines up with his, the best out of all the singers in the band. So that was like, you know, if I had to choose one, that would be it.
You want to give it a go?
Yeah, let's do it. On a Greyhound bus, Lord, I'm traveling this morning. I'm going to Shreveport, down to New Orleans. Been traveling these highways, I've been doing things my way. It's been making me lonesome, Henry and me. Her hair was jet black, and her name was Bodine. Thought she was the queen of the Basin Street Queens, but she got tired of a smoky wine dream. She began to feel lonesome on me. But we got together and cashed in our sweeps. We gave on to beggar who was mumbling through the streets, and there's no escaping from a snowy white dream, born looking lonesome on me. Lord, I'm down in this valley where the wheels turn so low. At dawn I pray to the Lord of my soul, and I said, dear Lord, do right by me. I'm tired of being lonesome on me. I said I'm tired of being lonesome on me. Thank you all. Yeah, they do a much better rendition of that than I do, but it's you know, I would just let Cody Kilby step in and do the solo. Like, yeah, man, get up in there. But yeah, I can't wait to do some more of that, and you know, hopefully one day find my way up on that stage. But even if it's just the Academy, you know, winner, you know, when they put everybody up there at the end, I was this close last year. We were this close. He did, yeah, yeah, yeah. Does anybody else have any questions?
How many Delfest you gone to so far?
All but like one.
Okay, I'll see you at the rest.
Yeah, yeah, literally one. I think the first one I wasn't there, and my sister went, and I have 3 sisters, so I won't say which one, but she may or may not have jumped the tracks, and you know, she was like, you know, one.
Dude, I swam across the river once.
I may or may not have done that once. But I wasn't willing to let my streak die. Okay, like once you've been there so many years in a row, and they're like, you're at risk of not being able to go one year, and it's like, you know, even just like touching the ground counts, you know, and then running back over the other side, it was like, you know, I got to go see St. Paul and the Broken Bones. They were wonderful. Yeah, that dude, he's got pipes. If you're not a St. Paul and the Broken Bones fan, his voice is otherworldly. Tedeschi Trucks was another one that just like, you know, Susan Tedeschi, like her voice will stop you in your tracks. Like you're just like, who is this? And I wish they'd have them back again here really soon. Yeah, man, I'm not gonna stop anytime soon either. Find me down by the river.
We probably already have.
Yeah.
So what's going to be your one trick to win the band scramble this year?
Picking the correct song. Yeah, being willing to, like, whenever they put you into your group of, it might be 10 people, letting everybody fairly audition and quickly deciding upon what song fits the people that you have. And, you know, I was submissive last year and did not know a whole lot of bluegrass music that was like diverse. And I was blessed that there were people around me that were like, "Oh, you can sing in the key of B." I didn't know that. Yeah, yeah, and they were like, the song that they put me into was, what was it? "Sweet Blue Eyed Darling," and it was, you know, it's way up high, but I was able to reach all the notes, and then let all these musicians step in and play all of the other parts of it, and I just kind of kept rhythm with them. But yeah, without those people around me and just being willing to accept what they were telling me, you know, we probably would have done much worse. You know, I could have forced that song on them, but maybe they couldn't keep up, or they weren't prepared to learn something that was in a drop D. Whereas, you know, I don't want to give up too many secrets, but a 3-chord wonder is, you know, what they like call an easy song in bluegrass, or sometimes a 2-chord. And picking something like that makes it so that every single person in the band can contribute in some way, and they really do look for that when they're grading. You know, they want to see every single person in some way, shape, or form contribute and just be at least a part of it. Yeah, so yeah, choose wisely. Yep.
James, do you sing hymns?
Do I sing hymns? In church, I do.
They're in your rotation or your repertoire.
I have, so I've done one gospel song. I'm not prepared to play it right now. Just like I would say that I'm not all the way through both the verses yet. But yeah, no, I've recently been through a lot and found myself back in the pews for the first time in probably a decade. And you know, my relationship with God and with my children has never been better. So yeah, that's to come.
I think your voice would be great for like old country hymns.
Yeah, and it's yeah. They keep asking me, and they're like, when you getting up on stage and singing worship for us? And it's coming. It's coming. I just got to find the time to learn the way that I've learned all these other songs. You know, I have a method to my madness, and if I don't really know the words to it, it doesn't come out the same way with the same level of passion. You know, that's a big part of like stage presence, is like, you know, not just going through the motions, but like, you know, really getting into it, singing with your heart. And yeah, my heart's in the right place. I just I got to get my mind to catch up with it. Yeah. So.
Any other questions? You want to leave us with anything?
Delfest, thank you, and I love you. I'll be back. Thank you, guys. Thank you all so much for coming out, too. I appreciate you. I'll be hanging out here for just a little bit, and if you think of something else that you want to hear, you know, feel free.
Where can we find you online? Like, where's your presence? What's your handles?
Okay, so I'm just James Jones on Facebook. My Instagram, I'm starting to put a couple things on there. And I believe I'm Old Jonesy. I'm West Virginia James on YouTube. And, you know, yeah, James Jones might be one of the millions of other James Joneses that are out there. But I'm the guy holding this guitar. It's like, my parents really did do that to me after the call leader. Not directly after, but he had already did what he did, and then they were still like, yeah, James Jones. It's not a stage name, it's my real name. It's like yep. So yeah, that's where you can find me, and I hope to see you guys, you know, out and about. I play a lot of local shows here. This Sunday I'll be at the Moose in Wiley Ford from 3 to 6 p.m.
By yourself or something?
All by myself. Yep, I typically just play solo shows for right now, but I'm willing to entertain the idea of joining in with a band or a group of guys that have, you know, a like-minded interest. And, you know, want to go out and just have a good time, pick a good set list, and rock. Yep.
You want to take us out with one?
Why
You
not?
want to?
Oh, why not? She packed my bags last night, pre-flight. 0 hours, 9 a.m. And I'm gonna be high as a kite by then. I miss the earth so much. I miss my wife. It's lonely out in space on such a timeless plane. And I think it's gonna be a long, long time till touchdown brings me round again to find I'm not the man they think I am at home. Oh, no, no, no. I'm a rocket man. Rocket man burning out his fuse out here below. Mars ain't the kind of place to raise a kid. In fact, it's cold as ice, and there's no one there to raise them if you did. And all the science I don't understand, it's just my job 5 days a week. Rocket man, rocket man. And I think it's gonna be a long, long time. And I think it's gonna be a long, long time. And I think it's gonna be a long, long time. Thank you all. I appreciate y'all. This has been really fun. Thank you so much for the opportunity.